Welcome to another show, folks.
Hapje en hapje.
Full on rainbow. It's been exactly 1 week since I last saw this garden. I've been away for a few days and it's been quite spectacular to see the changes. The tomatoes especially, they really outdid my expectations. Almost 100% of them, I would say maybe 2 or 3 of them didn't make it, but a good 95% of them did. And that's a real, comforting thought, especially since all the setbacks. And then behind me here, the peppers are also looking really great. Maybe 1 or 2 that are looking a little bit sad, but I might still replant those. I'm just gonna go sneak into our neighbor's garden and pick a few more. And then the salads are looking great, and then the 3 other beds we haven't planted yet because they are very heavy on the manure, and we might actually just let them settle for next year since the other garden is also starting to pick up.
Last week we set up these trellising structures and our sad tomatoes needed a day or 2 before they could get hooked up and led onto the trellis.
So this is the trellis structure up in action. As you can tell, the plants are tied down at the bottom and the cord is then wrapped around the main stem, leading up to this trellis, which makes it easy to then give them as much line as they need during their growing period. Today is the day that we'll be harvesting these potatoes young, and the reason we're doing so is threefold. Well, first of all, we love young potatoes. Secondly, these puppies are diseased and it has been raining. So let's talk about that. We planted this last February and they were doing great, and some of them actually are still doing great, but most of them unfortunately have got a fungal disease called Alternarium alternata, which is that's a big word, mouthful. But for those of you who don't know it by its Latin name, it is called brown spot and it's very common. It's a fungal disease and unfortunately it can kill your plant and your tubers. So we have decided to intervene. We did a little check. There is some nice new potatoes under the soil here. So we are about to harvest, and there are 2 other reasons we are harvesting early. One of them being, well, first of all, we love young potatoes. They are delicious and anybody that's tried them will concur. But the third reason we're actually doing it is we've had a very long wet spell. We've had about a week and a half's worth of rain, and tubers are notorious for rotting under the soil. So even more reasons to get these out of the ground. Family, action! Last one, guys. Let's make a little bet. How many do you think are in there? 5. E tu? 4. E tu?
Mais ou menos 18.
18! Oh, espero que tenhas razão. I think there's going to be 3 plus 2 eaten.
You lost. There's 4 already. There's 5.
Alex!
There's 7.
Oh, yucky!
There's 8.
Wow,
There's
minus 10!
There's 10.
So a lot of the potatoes were actually already eaten. They were enjoyed by someone other than us, and that someone is one guilty mole. We've been struggling with his appearance for a while now. It will be interesting to see if we get a very different yield in this bed. This one has some sunflowers planted in between and evenly diseased. Let's go. Alright, so these are the yields of the 2 beds. I would say that we were definitely wrong about the second bed not having more potatoes. The second bed has, in kilos, in terms of kilos, for sure it will have more potatoes. Look at the size of that tater. However, there were a few of these tricky bastards because we thought, oh, look at that big one. Not so much.
Clean.
So we fed them all. Now we might need to kill it. No, we're not gonna. It's very important that it is part of the whole ecosystem, and since we are advocates for biodiversity, we cannot say that we're not completely happy with this mole, but we just wish he would eat elsewhere, right?
We create a lot of spaces under the soil that aerates our bed, so it's not bad at it.
Look at us.
Double purpose.
Yeah. I love how we're trying to be like put a positive spin on this whole thing.
Sucks.
No, we are for moles, but unfortunately, yeah, sometimes they dine in areas that they shouldn't. So we lost some potatoes, but overall, I feel like we supported nature, so that's okay. And we are gonna enjoy these potatoes. I'm very happy with this yield, and that our kids came to help and sometimes stand in the way.
And that's it. Yeah.
Cut!